There's just no doing it right, buddy. Here we go, dude. There's
Oh.
nothing funnier. Welcome to Leafs Talk with JD Bunkis and Sam McKee. No trial and tribulation greater for a pasty, just washed out dude that's in the middle of his just winter skin than trying to deal with a ring light. This is the same thing in my studio too, bro, where I'll sit in the studio and the editors after they look at me and they go, we can't work with this. Like, you like, we can't make you look not like a ghoul because of the lighting of this. There's just it's just translucent. Like you put a light on me and it's either mega shine or ghost or ghoul. There's no light.
Oh
So
my
there's
God.
nothing worse than when I get hit with the comments is like JD's lighting is bad. It's like, it's not the lighting.
It's me, boys.
It's all me. There's a reason why everybody looks fine except for me. It's so funny too, because like I'll sometimes think I get the lighting down, and then every once in a while, it just like you said it, you're like, did you just change something? It's like, no, man. It just the camera focuses in a little bit more, and then it's just like, what's up, pale face? Anyway,
what's up, Whitey?
What's up, Whitey?
My lighting's looking pretty good tonight. I've got it set up. I've got it on lock now.
Honestly, I took my glasses off tonight because I'll be distracted by how bad it looks on my face in this room, especially too. It's like I took my glasses off. I don't want to see. I want to know. Let me just be oblivious and pretend in my mind that it's all right. So yeah, Leafs. I don't know what to say about this game. This was basically shinny. That Columbus team, you want to talk about a team that has completely packed it up. Here's what I'll actually say to Columbus. I thought they did a decent job tonight of keeping the Leafs out of the most dangerous areas of the ice. They clearly had a bit of a mandate to say, let's not screw this kid over in front of his parents and have him get completely shelled and barbecued by a high team. But then after that, they didn't offer much else. Like that took their complete focus was trying to maintain that little box formation, keep the Leafs out of the slot area for some parts of the night. I thought that the kid, Jet, what's his last name? I forget already. Greaves. Yeah, Greaves.
Right?
I thought that he did a pretty decent job actually making a bunch of saves. But this was a kind of a reminder that the Leafs can just be given their what'd you say the Leafs were tonight? 70% effort?
Boy, it'd be hard to really give them even that. I thought
but they doubled up on shots. Like they doubled them up on shots and they whooped their ass basically for that game. I actually think that's like a really good statement for the Leafs, just that they have that much talent where even when they're basically not trying, they're playing with their food, they can just kill you, like if you're bad.
So if I told you that Morgan Riley, that can't be right. I'm looking at the shots on goal here. He had 9 shots on goal according to the score app.
Oh,
is that
dude?
9 shots on goal?
Buddy, I know you're watching the Jays game.
Well, I'm flicking back and forth here and there. You know, who was it?
Listen, we both watched.
Every single person here is flicking back and forth.
We both watched some Jays tonight. There's no question about it. But I actually have down in my notes that a couple of things that I really liked tonight was just how aggressive the blue liners were. Everybody knew it was cookie night. Okay. So there was a lot of blue liners that were cheating and pinching. Mo was doing kind of his thing. I actually thought that he had like really nice jump. He had some good energy in his legs. He did a good job trying to filter some pucks towards the net. He wasn't as hesitant with it. They ended up getting a goal because Jake McCabe did the exact same thing where Zach Aston Reese is in front of the net and he just fired one on there. That's what the Leafs
scored
did
that one
tonight.
off his dick. How'd that one go in? That was a weird one.
This is a good way to actually pivot into Zach Aston Reese, because if we're going to talk about that goal, we're going to talk about Zach Aston Reese. Yes, it was definitely weird. I was looking at it multiple times. I didn't even really see conclusively. I didn't see conclusively that he touched the puck. But the broadcast was losing their minds, going like double-digit goals. It's double-digit goals. We start all the goals on our network. Yeah, we're the network that gets us that. It's like nice, sweet thing.
Can I get the goal? Can I get the Austin Matthew goals on my network?
Yeah, like okay, sick thing to be super stoked on. But yeah, whatever. Anyway, they are the Zach Aston Reese network. There's no debating it. Okay. Yeah. Like at this point, they got 80% of Czar goals. That is the stat of the year. But hey, Zach Aston Reese has scored 5 goals in his last 10 games. And
Yeah,
I'll just say this, man. You texted me. He's been playing well. I don't I don't know how you're going to take him out of the lineup here automatically. Like I don't know how he's going to feel about, I'm having my best month of the season. Things are ramping up. You're trying to find a line that has a little bit of consistency, and I'll admit that as much as I really want to like Lafferty and at times I really like the speed, he's been a little underwhelming for me lately, I got to
completely
say.
agree. Completely
I
agree.
think Lafferty is hot seat guy when it comes to the way that the Leafs would move things around. I just also have a hard time that they would take out a veteran who can move the way he does, who they traded for and can play center
Mhm.
for a college student. It's just boy, oh boy, oh boy. If you're Matthew Nyes, you at least are feeling pretty good about the idea of there's no pressure on you to make this team. Like they're fine. They're set. The forward groups are essentially set when they end up getting
Yeah.
back Ryan O'Reilly.
Ryan, Matthew Nyes may be considering another year in Minnesota at this rate, by the
Yeah.
fact that it just seems like everyone in the bottom six is contributing. And like, I guess if you go through the guys in the bottom six who would potentially take out, who are like on the hot seat, I guess Zach Aston Reese would be the easy one. And then I guess you would be Lafferty because nobody else in that mix is going to be coming out. Like
Good
Camp
shot.
obviously not coming out playing center, Chari. Like there's just no point in going through any of these guys that are going to come out for the playoffs because they're all going to be in the mix. So I think this was probably one of the intentions when they made all these trades is not only to have competition, which you've seen Zach Aston Reese's really production and eye test other than production, just the jump to his game has taken
Yep.
off since they added guys into the bottom of this lineup. So not only did they add competition that's inspired some of the guys they already had, you took the pressure right off Matthew Nyes in terms of having to come in and make an impact. Now he's a guy you go to if you're looking for a spark or you're looking to, you need an offensive touch or whatever. Like he is far from a lock to play in any playoff games against Tampa to me. Like at this point, the way it looks and the way that they're looking in the bottom half of the lineup, I would be shocked to see him get in early in that series. I mean, you can talk to me about the way the top half of this lineup looked tonight. I know they're kind of in cruise control mode, but listen, even Marner
I
couldn't
thought
save.
Matthews tonight was actually
No,
pretty
no, I know,
awesome.
but even Marner couldn't save Tavares and Nylander tonight. Like I really hope that Nylander is just kind of saving it here for the playoffs because we've seen a lot out of him that's been good for the whole season. But boy, the effort level there right now and just the way he looks on the ice, it's not pretty at the moment. So you really hope that. Go
I
ahead.
disagree. I disagree that's not pretty because when Nylander, I told you, I texted you, when Nylander's dogging it, he draws the eye. It's like a painting. Like
I
it's
couldn't
art.
look away. I couldn't look
No,
away.
when he's in full dog it mode, you're just like, this is brilliant because you're moving well and you're still able to do stuff, but it's just the most. And he definitely has I don't care face too,
Oh
which
yeah.
is, he's too pretty. He's too pretty of a guy. So he just looks like like, hey, shouldn't you be somewhere better than this? Like, you don't need to
Yeah.
play Columbus tonight. Go to Paris for the night and do whatever it is that you
The
want to do
Fashion
over there.
Week, Willie.
Hey,
Go over there and grab a
yeah,
Balenciaga hoodie and head to Fashion Week, pal. We
yeah.
don't need
Don't
you
you
till the
feel sorry? Like, I feel like the rest of these schlubs, all these like Ontario schlubs playing the HL, they should feel bad that they make Nylander come out here tonight. His beautiful face. He should be, yes,
Oh man.
Fashion Week, Paris, Balenciagas. This is not the life for him. To Columbus on a Tuesday. It's
No.
just not right. Yeah. I just to wrap up the Zach Aston Reese thing. The first goal is whatever. It's just that's the where you score on the AHL goalie, and
Mhm.
he doesn't get his post well. You kind of get a cheap one, whatever.
Hits the middle of the
Still,
net from somehow from
yeah,
like the side of the net. Anyways, continue.
still created it, and still doing a decent job of getting the puck on
Mhm.
net. And then the second one, though, I actually think is I don't want to freak out and talk about it being so impressive because two Columbus guys, and he's still battling in a game that's 2-1, right?
Mhm.
Like, there's no need for him to be doing this. And he's still consistently fighting for a spot, and he's playing physical, and he gets into a dirty area. He tips a puck in, and whatever. This is getting redundant at this point with some of this stuff, but you just still do feel like, hey, you're going to need a goal like that come playoff time. And that
Mhm.
one of those things is going to be the difference. And he's one of those bigger bodies that's not afraid of that area of the ice. So good for him in those 8 minutes that they get a game in the playoffs. I hope that you see a little bit of this from that line.
Absolutely. There's just we've talked about the bottom six at nauseum, but this is like you said, the exact type of goal that goes in a game 7 is one that
Yep.
gets shot off your crotch and ends up in the back of the net. Right.
Yep.
So, and they haven't gotten that in however many years past.
I
Like
believe
we've
you
talked
said
about a million
dick,
times.
not
I did.
crotch, but
I did say dick. I softened it this time because I didn't know
Dude,
if I should have said that.
How funny would it be if we ever get to a point where you hear like Al Michaels say that? Because they always say groin. That's their move, is groin. But it'd be so funny if one time Al Michaels was like, right in the dick. You know? Joe Buck. Like, just give me one time.
Well, guess what? I think this is the first and last time Al Michaels and my name will ever be mentioned in the same sentence. So I think we're safe there.
Buddy, I got to tell you, though. Okay, so this game, good for Zach Gaston-Reese. I'll talk about Joe Wall in a second. But yeah, Jay Season on the line with Kikuchi playing. Masters starting in 2 days. Playoffs around the corner. March Madness just finished, where we watched this incredible women's championship game. And UConn's dominant run. It was tough to get up. Like, I empathize with the players. You know, we do the 82 game schedule.
Kikuchi back.
Oh, nice one, sis.
Yes,
yes. Dude, Kikuchi was dealing tonight. This is now Jay's talk. Buddy.
Jay's talk plus.
Quick side tangent. Not that I was not fully focused on the Leafs game tonight. Obviously, I was.
Clearly.
He didn't get a lot of punchies, but he just looked confident. And then he put 2 on late in the ball game, and then he got a monster strikeout. And I was like the Grinch. My heart swelled 2 sizes, and I wanted to go down a mountain and bring Kikuchi presents, because he wore it last year. And there's something to, like, man, and this is the way I'll tie it in with Leaf stuff.
Yes.
This market can be horrifically cruel to the whipping boy, right? Like, we whip and we whip and we whip over and over, and everybody does it. And there's incredible groupthink. But when one of the whipping boys emerges and has redemption, I love it. Even if I have whipped that boy with other, like, I whipped Kikuchi, I took my turns, you know, like, I may have even brought out remember what was this movie, the Jesus movie that Mel Gibson made, that was like the big
The Passion.
That's right.
Yeah, the Passion of the Christ.
In the Passion, there's like one whip that has like 5 tails on it, and they bring that sucker on, you're like, oh. And I had that sucker for Kikuchi last year when he was just bombing start after start after start.
But
good for him, man. I love
him working that 97 at the top of the zone out of the left side. Like, that's elite looking stuff.
Robbie Ray.
Your take earlier in the spring about how the pitch clock, like, he's not thinking out there. He's just letting it eat. There's no debate that the pitch clock is going to help him.
Yeah, we're 5 games into the season, and Kikuchi's my number 3. It's like, these are my starters for the Blue Jays from right now to playoff series. 1, Gossman. 2, Manoah. 3, Kikuchi. 4, Zach Thompson. 5, Nate Pearson. The other guys, Bassett. And Bassett already write off to me, and same with Barrios. Double write off. Moon Jail, immediately gone. 0 trust. I actually am a big Bassett guy. But anyways, back to the Leafs. Joe Wall tonight, he falls down. He lets one in.
Oh, boy.
He gave up another that was just a nasty shot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm projecting a little bit, but I thought he kind of looked a little skittish in the net tonight. But I say that maybe I'm projecting because the game was so heavily one-sided for the Leafs that it was one of those games where the longer it was 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, and whenever Columbus would kind of come down and get another, I felt like, oh boy, don't have one of these games where you let in a 2 softies and then we're feeling kind of bad about the way you played. I thought he was a little skittish in the net tonight. What did you think?
I really think it's too hard to judge him, just because of the reason that you pulled out there.
22 shots, right? Or 23 shots.
And like, there didn't seem like any of them were grade A's really. And like, they played pretty well in front of them. They limited chances. Like, that first one's a blooper. Like, that's just he blew a shoe. Like, he's cutting across the ice. His feet go out from under him. He's lying on his butt. Like, I was like, oh, that's goalie interference.
Yeah, I know. That was when he fell so hard.
And then he went to the
automatically you're like, that's
oh, he just wiped out. And that second one,
across, his skate goes underneath. I've never seen that before.
And that's like a one. I don't know the guy's first name, Robinson. Boy, that kid can fly. Like, he comes blowing down the wing there. Eric Robinson. Thank you, mystery voice, David Siss. Eric Robinson absolutely flies on the wing. and shoots one under the bar. One that he's probably going to want back. Like, I doubt he's thrilled with himself for letting that one in. But like, I'd like to see him against like a real team, like some real competition here where he's got to either make 40 saves or let in 5 on, 40 shots or whatever. I don't think it's really fair to judge him. I don't think he was spectacular by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think he was bad. I just think it's kind of a blah night and hard to make any judgments on him. Like if you want to judge him on that fall, sure. But like outside of that, like I didn't think he got tested a whole lot.
No, not really. Like I said, to me, it was being a little probably judgmental about the way that he was moving it. It looked like he was swimming on a couple of plays.
For sure.
It did. It felt like he was not. The last time we saw him, he looked really confident. He looked like he was very set positionally tonight whenever they Columbus started to put it on a little bit later in the game where they started to get some opportunities. And I just felt a little nervous watching him play. And again, maybe it was just the first goal. Maybe it was that he didn't get tested a lot that night. I might be projecting this one, but that was just how I felt in the moment was, he doesn't look great. He doesn't have the ton of confidence looking like it tonight.
I'm no goalie whisperer. I'm no McKenna. I'm no Woodley here. But the one thing I do like about him is that he seems to have pretty good rebound control. When pucks hit him, there doesn't seem to be a lot, hanging around the top of the circle, or they don't bounce off of him into the slot. Like I feel that
he kicks a lot in the corner.
Yeah. Like I feel like he's really got a good handle of his rebounds and stuff. So I don't know if that's true. That could be the worst wrong take, but that just feels like anecdotally when I watch him, I feel like there's not a lot of, pucks spilled into the slot. So yeah, I honestly know you're probably going to get your backup at this one. I guess you throw Samsonov in there on Thursday against Boston or whatever. Clearly, right? Okay.
Not even
So then,
zero.
So then you go back to Wall in Montreal at home on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, like, do we have an update on Murray?
He's not going to play. He fell and bonked his head. Like
but did we have any?
No,
on
it? No, he got asked today at practice. Did you hear the Keefe audio today from practice? He got asked and he's like, yeah, he fell. He's dealing with a head and some other things. And yeah, it's a head injury. And then someone followed up with him and they're like, hey man, yeah, is it a concussion? He's like, I think I've answered the question is what he said. So it's like, oh boy. So he's got a concussion.
Like Hardo coach answer to make you sour on the guy immediately. Like,
we get it. You're the coolest. Yeah. Like you're the most secretive guy. We get it. Like
no, it's top serious organization. Oh, sorry, what's that?
You're the goalie's got concussion issues. Fell and hit his head, but it doesn't have a concussion. Like he's got a concussion. Right. But think about it. We're how many days into the playoffs? Like 2 weeks today.
Yeah.
Maybe the Leafs will be playing their first playoff game potentially, right? And then how long is he going to be before, like, you got to get on a bike before, start getting your energy up, see how your head reacts. Like, he's not going to be ready for the playoffs, man. Like, there's just no way.
I'm not going to play Twitter doctor. I'm not going to do that. I know. Well, yeah, you just did. You don't need to.
I guarantee he will not be playing any games before the playoffs. That's a lock.
If it's me, my hope is that you can get him in for that Tampa game. That's an important game for Matt Murray, straight up, because one, you don't want to play that Tampa game. I think is going to be a rest spot for the Leafs. You're going to actually, it's funny. They gave tonight, Marner and Matthews, all these guys got to cookie hunt against this Columbus team and the AHL goalie. They're probably feeling a little disappointed. I'm glad actually Matthews ended up getting the empty netter because he sort of deserved one tonight and he never ended up getting it. And I went, no, get him his round number. He obviously wants to get it. People say that doesn't matter to him anymore because he had 60. It's like he definitely still wants a 40-goal season. You're out of your mind if you don't think that's
me who said that. People say that was me. I just said that after scoring 60, 40 probably doesn't have the same cachet. That's what I said.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same cachet. You know what has worse cachet? Scoring 60 and then having 38. That sounds much worse. At least you get to say X amount of 40-goal seasons. That's still a thing. For sure, he cares about it. He's a goal scorer, man. Like, there's nothing that motivates Austin Matthews outside of, let's say, winning a Stanley Cup, sure, other than scoring goals. Like, it's all the great goal scorers. They love it. Yeah, and Bieber taking him to whatever event Bieber will take him to.
Yeah, going to UFC with Joe Thornton. Those things are what inspire him.
Yeah,
Anyways,
those are
continue.
scooter time with Thornton and Marlowe showing up to watch one of his games. Those are his favorite activities.
Yeah.
Where was I with this? I'm lost. Oh yeah,
You're
the
just talking
goalies.
about how they got cookies. Yeah.
Oh, the goalies. No, no. I just was gonna say that if it's me, I'd love to
Mhm,
see Samsonov start against Boston, and then I'm
mhm,
going to him and being like, "Hey, we don't want you to follow the rhythm, but we don't want to be stupid about this. So, you're gonna get to down the stretch, but let's not get crazy here. Let's make sure I would make sure that Samsonov plays Boston and that
mhm.
Samsonov plays the last game of the year against the Rangers. And that's the only two that I would lock in and go 100% because you want to let him, you don't want to have him go like more than a week without playing,
No,
right? So the Rangers
no.
game he definitely has to be in.
Yep.
Those two games, those are the Samsonov games. The rest of them, I don't care. It's up to him. Maybe he ends up getting one more in there. That's the max, though. You can max get one more game. Ideally, you have Wall play that Saturday night useless game against the Habs, and
Mhm.
then Matt Murray, if it was my ideal world, he's back in time to play Tuesday against Tampa Bay, the second night of a back-to-back.
Well, it's gonna be not him. I'll bet you. I know you're a gambling man. I'll bet you a beer at the bar that he will not be playing any games before the end of the season.
Be the first beer you ever bought me, so yeah, let's go with that.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
What do I got to lose? Doing the normal thing of buying you your beers? Yeah,
Uh,
so anyway, I just think that's my ideal scenario here. I won't rule him
uh,
out, but yeah, you're probably right. If I have to guess the injured guy who takes forever to get
yeah,
back from
he
injury,
ain't playing
he's
it.
probably he's probably not gonna Wolverine this situation.
So I got
Oh,
I
what?
got one for you, buddy. The Leafs season flashed before their eyes tonight with Kent Johnson stepping on Marner's leg.
Dude.
That's and listen,
Oof.
listen. There's no way it's hockey. There's no way to manage it. It's just these games are horrifying for this reason. It's just like they got 5 games left or how many 4 games left now where it's just
Yeah,
like survive. Just
buddy.
survive. This
I
is
ran
spring
into our
training.
boy.
This is spring training. This is, preseason. Just get through this baby healthy until next 2 weeks today. Because
Yeah,
boy,
there's
that was
clearly
horrifying.
there's clearly a little bit of a rhythm element here for sure. I'm not going to discount that. Bourne's talked about it a lot. The teams that try to shut it down before the playoffs and play the whole risk management game, they're usually teams that come out flat. There's actually
Mhm.
pretty well documented history of this. So yes, I do think that you want to at least have some kind of pace going into the playoffs. But you're right. It's the number one is one of these last useless games of the year where you're just trying to stay tuned in. You get a
Mhm.
major injury, and
Ugh.
like I said, I ran into our boy Gibbo today, Michael Gibbons. The man,
Oh, Gibbo.
the absolute man,
Love the
Gibbo,
man.
106.1 Gibbo, the absolute
Love the
man,
man.
the king. Yes, of course, the leader of 680 News. And we did a hug, and I
Yeah.
said, "We're almost there." And he
Yeah.
said, "Yes, we are," because the guy lives and breathes with the Leafs.
Loves
And
the
I said
Leafs.
to him, "I wish we could fast forward." And he went, "Yeah, I wish we could sim these games." And I went, "That's the perfect way to put it.
Sim.
I wish
Guys
we
still
could
get hurt in
sim."
sim games.
Like, no, now if you turn injuries off, the big cat way. I wish you could turn injuries off. I wish like that's the thing I wish right now is that you
Yeah.
could just sim these no injuries. Just get me to the finish line here. Let me just watch the Blue Jays game. Season on
Yeah.
the line tomorrow night against Kansas City Royals. Got to win a series. Must win series against the
Yeah.
Royals. Huge bounce, Noah. Massive game. Let me just dial in on that and let me sim these Leafs games because
Yeah.
there's very little else. But you're right. That was the moment of the game. Like if we're
Yeah.
doing what was the most important moment of the game? Mitch Marner keeping his leg.
Because I saw it happen live
Same.
and I saw him like roll around for a second and I just like, oh, Jesus Christ, it's over. Like it just,
Yeah.
you know, like watch every game. We talk about every game. We spend
Boy.
all this time breaking it down, looking ahead. All fans watch every game, getting all excited for the playoffs. And Marner blows a shoe, a guy steps on his leg, and it all comes crumbling down. Like it's on a, not to use a bad term here, but it's on a knife's edge. These last
Number one
games.
guy that you could not.
Number one kid, yeah, number one, absolutely number one, no question. Like there's other guys you can talk yourself into, like sure Matthews, but there's no question Marner is by far their MVP this year and would be their biggest loss. So less of that, please, because I didn't enjoy watching that at all.
Nothing else for me other than I was going to say good for Nick Abruzzese getting some points, couple of games, couple of points. He gets absolutely robbed in this one, and then Kerfoot picks up the goal of that's the Kerfoot goal. It's like you cannot miss
Pokes
this.
it in.
Just tap it.
So I wanted the last thing I had is
Mhm.
Jet. Was his last name again? Jet Bree. What was it? Greasy. David
Grease,
says Jet Grease.
Grease, Graves.
Grease.
Graves. Yeah.
Graves. Anyways, I want to give him a huge shout out because the way that game was going early, you and I were
Mhm.
texting. I was like, I don't want to see this kid from Cambridge, Ontario,
Thought
go
he was
in
gonna
there
get 7.
and lose 8-1. And like his parents are in the barn. They were talking about how his dad had to get the night off from the fire hall. You can just picture how proud all the boys are of like him and his dad. And like, they're just, his mom and his dad are there and he looks so happy. And listen, he didn't get the win, but he made 40. Oh, there it is. 46 saves. He was solid. Like he let in 3. Like he can hold his head high. He was their best player by far. And he can say that he had a successful NHL debut for a team that pretty unfairly put him in there. Like they're doing this for a reason. They're trying to lose these games.
Up 5.5 a game.
They're trying to lose these games. They put him in there. This is an NHL debut, and he goes in there and he performs really well. And I'm sure like he gets to talk to his mom and dad after his NHL debut in the barn. That like, by the way, have you ever felt older than hearing Masters talk about how he grew up watching Frederick Anderson?
No, because there was a guy the other day that got quoted saying he grew up watching Austin Matthews.
Oh my God. But he's like, I really loved watching Freddie Anderson. I was like, oh Jesus, I'm in the tomb. Like,
but at least Freddie's been around. Like I can, Freddie's been around, but but Matthews, when the kid said that, where he's like, he looked up and he idolized watching Matthews. And I realized that we have enough time of Matthews now in the NHL where a kid could be 13 years old.
Yes.
And then be turning 20.
Yeah.
I went,
gross.
Oh, that's tough. That's too much for me to handle today. That's too much for me today. No,
shout out Jack Greaves. Good on you.
Yeah. Buddy, you and I feel the same way. The older you get, the more you start to empathize a little bit with some of the human stories. And I know that there are people watching this broadcast that hope that Toronto would score 8 goals against this kid tonight. I absolutely did not want that. I was clearly 1000% rooting for a result that was kind of similar to this. Leafs get their 2 points.
Yes.
Nobody gets hurt. Matthews gets a goal, and you have this kid not be embarrassed. He gets to hold his head up high and say, hey, they gave up a million shots, but I did my job. I did everything I possibly could. Like, good for him.
Perfect.
Good for Cambridge.
Perfect.
Nice win. Perfect all around.
Shout out Blake Murphy. I'm sure he's fired up about that one.
Yeah.
Blake Murphy's from
I don't
Cambridge,
want Bedard to go there. I don't know why. What?
Blake Murphy's from Cambridge, right?
Yeah. I just
good.
He's from he's one of those dudes that like claims 8 places, and you're like, just pick one, you know? All right, we get it.
What are you, Flameborough, or what are you doing here?
Exactly. It's like, I'm from Drumble, I'm from Cambridge, I'm from Newfoundland. It's like, all right, enough. You get one. Everybody gets one spot. All right, you don't get 8. Okay, so I did think this tonight when they were getting shelled, just a little bit about how Columbus to me has a bit of a stink, and I don't want Bedard to go there. Like, there's just they're kind of a cheesy, like, at first I thought, hey, Ohio is a great sports city. Bring him there. All of a sudden there's maybe some, but it's not, it's a football town. Nothing's going to change it. I don't think Bedard's going to do anything there. Cannon thing, those like, I can't get down with Columbus. The jerseys, for whatever reason, it's like they feel like they should be nice.
They've always sucked.
I know, but why aren't they good? Because they have a good color scheme, and the Bumblebee thing sucks, but the rest of it, they kind of had something, I thought, for one. It always feels like they're just, some teams can never escape being an expansion franchise, and they're just that to me, where it's like you're stuck in being expansion team forever and ever and ever. Like, that's just who you're going to be.
So here's the thing about the Bedard race, and I'm sure you've been watching his playoff exploits so far. Here's the thing. Playoffs started, he's still pretty good. A lot of the teams that, like, it's all West, right? So I feel sick about this.
I don't want him to go to West. That's
what I mean.
My honest
Columbus,
to God, in my heart, I want him to go to Montreal.
Don't say it. No, you dirty dog. You can't have him.
I regret this. I regret this the second it actually happens and it's a reality. But my thing is like him going to a place where he would be properly appreciated. That means a lot to me. Like where the fans would get it and they would just buy into it and be like, holy crap.
That's fair. That's fair. But I don't want, the next McDavid in the Leafs division, and he will play
I would
there.
regret it immediately. The first
he'd play
time,
there his whole career. Like he'd be there from the start of his career to the end of his career. He'd scored 1,500 points playing for the Habs, scored, 15 points a year playing against the Leafs. Like it's a nightmare scenario. But outside, like Chicago, like I just wanted Columbus because he's playing in an irrelevant division, right? Like he's playing against Sid, he's playing against Ovi, he's playing in New York, he's playing like in but still, you like that's, and then he's gonna like, I guess like the nightmare is him to go to Anaheim or San Jose or like or Arizona, like
at 10:30 at night, or they play in front of 5,000 fans is completely unacceptable.
I agree.
Like, dude, my feelings on Bettman and the way that he's turned this like the way the NHL is right now.
Mm-hmm.
If he ends up in an Arizona Coyotes uniform,
nightmare,
it's like Bettman, you're
can't
fired.
have it.
Like
you're
gone. You got to either fold the franchise or quit your job. Like
they've been hot. They're not really. They're like they've been hot.
Yeah, but all these loser franchises. That's the thing about when there's that there's a generational prospect. When in my mind, I'm not paying any attention to any of these teams. They're all hot because anytime they win a game, I see it light up Twitter or whatever you mean. Like, can you believe they won a game? They blew it.
I said, by the way, couldn't be more wrong. Arizona has lost 8 games in a row.
I was gonna say, I was pretty sure they were like the coldest team, but I was like, I don't have the confidence in doing it.
So no, you're right. I don't know anything.
They just watched
8-1 to Seattle. They lost 8-1 to Seattle last night. But anyways, there's a tank battle going on. Chicago's lost 8 in a row. Anaheim's lost 8 in a row. Sharks have won 3 in a row, which is not good timing. Habs have lost 4 in a row. Like, I just will never, ever, last thing on Bedard, I will never, ever understand what the Canucks have done. The Canucks had the perfect opportunity to just install the Grim Reaper, aka Travis Yo, or the backup, is that his name? Is that Travis Yo, the coach, the backup coach that always comes in for people? They had the perfect opportunity to Mike Yo, Travis Yo. Who's Travis Yo? Guy went to high school. His name was Travis Yo. Shout out Travis Yo. Guy went to high school with Mike Yo.
Shout out from you tonight.
Yeah.
Shout out, guy.
Yeah. Like, and they hired Rick Tocchet, who's obviously a good coach, and they've just gotten hot, and they just sewered their chances at the best player since McDavid, who's born there, who wants to play there. Great job, Canucks. Absolutely great job, Canucks. Really well done.
The Canucks get what they deserve. Worst fan base in hockey, no question about it. Like, there's nothing I love more than I get to go on Vancouver radio every once in a while, and I go on the best show. No, but Halford and Bro, they are actually the best, and they love their team. Such a good show. Know their stuff. Back and like truly radio pros. Love listening to their show because they just crush it in their market. They're like they're lifetime appointee dudes. Like they're gonna have that job as long as there's any type of radio signal going out or podcast. They'll be number one in that place. They love having a good time, ripping Toronto and giving it back to Vancouver. And there's nothing I enjoy more than going on their show and then them sending me screenshots of like their text line from when I come on. And the Leafs lost that last game to the Canucks, and my mentions were eviscerated. I got pumped. I ate it for like 3 days, dude. It was a nightmare factory. Like, and I just had to do nothing but, smile and eat it. Because that's what you have to do when you get one like that. But holy crap, they can bring you a different level of toxicity, those fans. I hate their guts.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I'm done here.
All good. Good. And the last thing, the Toronto Blue Jays have won their first must-win game of the year. The season is back on. We're back, baby. Kukuch, our boy, did it for us.
Our show hit a bomb.
Yeah. We're back. Thank God.
They're back. Thank God. Oh, dude, 1-4, losing 2 games to the Royals.
God. Nightmare. Now they have to win the last 2 games against the Royals and go out to Anaheim and try to beat Shohei and Mike Trout.
Easy. Everyone does that.
Yeah.
Mike Trout and Shohei will have their incredible stats and they'll lose 10-4. Like that's
Sick.
their destiny. Loser squad, loser
Yeah.
franchise. Wait for Shohei to leave and me watch him play for a relevant team, even if it is in the AL East. I don't care.
No, this
Look
guy
at me.
wants Shohei on the
Yeah.
you want him on the Yankees, you want Bernard on the Habs. I'm done with this tonight.
I'm a sports fan, all right? I like to watch sports.
Yeah,
It is. Yeah. Watch Connor Bedard and Shohei play at 10:30 at night against the like Anaheim Ducks or the Texas Rangers. Like, dude, I want to see the best players, the generational guys. I want to see them on the reg. All right, for JD Bunkis, follow on Instagram and Twitter at JD Bunkis, at Sammy McKee. Yeah, DM's open, so hit me up anytime. Same with Twitter at JD Bunkis, at Sammy McKee. Fire us a follow and share the podcast. Leave 5 stars if it's on Spotify and on iTunes. Again, it's like a massive help for us. So if you leave a little nice review, that's really great. You hit the thumbs up button on YouTube. That's really great. You share it on Twitter, all those different things. Very, very awesome. We appreciate it. We'll see you Thursday for an important game.
Big game.
Finally.
Big game.
Boston, big game.
Let's go.
Measuring stick game. Let's go. For JD Bunkis, Sam McKee. We'll see you then.